Coming up on LUTV News, is the General Motors strike ending, the agreement possibility for workers that walked off the job almost a month ago, and the impact the deal will have.
Plus, the Democratic candidates attacked each other Tuesday in the debate. The current candidates are battling for their lead in the polls. Are you rooting for Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, or someone else?
And a local school district is having trouble finding bus drivers. The job opportunity for you, and if other districts are running into the same problem. The stories and more ahead on LUTV News. Welcome to this edition of LUTV News. I'm Rolando Dupuy.
I'm Danielle Lee. Thanks for joining us. Some good news may be coming for striking GM workers in Wentzville. It's being reported that the automaker and United Auto Workers officials have come to tenant agreement after workers walked off the job about a month ago. Details of the agreement have not been released yet. Union leadership will get a chance to vote on the 4-year pact on Thursday. Full ratification of the deal will take about a week. If the rank and file reject the plan, workers will go to the picket lines. The auto workers have been existing on a couple $100 a week in strike since walking off. Key issues in the strike involve pay for the newer workers, healthcare costs, and job security.
The fourth Democratic debate of the primary season took place Tuesday night in Ohio. The two main candidates took shots at each other and President Donald Trump as they jockeyed for position. Former Vice President Joe Biden, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders are currently the three front-runners. Warren's recent rise in the polls made her the target for some of her fellow Democrats. They're accusing her of not being honest about the possible cost of her health care plan. All 12 candidates agree on possibly impeaching President Donald Trump, comparing his administration to a dumpster fire. Biden, who has been attacked by the president recently over the Ukraine and China, defended his son's Hunter's business dealings.
He knows if I get the nomination, I will beat him like a drum.
The next Democrat debate will be November 20th in Georgia. The candidates will have until a week before that to qualify.
A former Fort Worth police officer is out on bond after a fatal shooting. Authorities say Aaron Dean shot at Tatiana Jefferson October 12th as she stood inside her home while watching her nephew. A body camera shows Dean approaching the home, pushing through a gate, and firing inside Jefferson's home a second after yelling for her to show her hands. Officials say there is no sign of Dean knocking on the door or identifying himself. Prior to this arrest, Dean resigned from the force. The police chief says Dean would have been fired if he had not resigned. Dean was out of custody less than 4 hours after his arrest.
A Menards employee continues her recovery after being run over by a suspected shoplifter. Police say Michelle Arthur was seriously injured when Debbie Penn reportedly struck her with her car in the parking lot of the Menards on Manchester Road. The 49-year-old Arthur, the wife of an area firefighter, has been airlifted to Craig Hospital in Colorado. The facility specializes in spinal and brain injury rehabilitation and has recently treated 3 St. Louis police officers who also suffered head injuries. Penn is currently jailed on charges of robbery, assault, and armed criminal action.
A home security company says Missouri ranks in the top 3 when it comes to murder. SafeWise compared its own numbers with the FBI crime statistics from 2013 through 2017. The U.S. averaged 4.9 homicides per every 100,000 people. Missouri is listed as having 7.9 murders per 100,000. That's the third after Mississippi and Louisiana. The safest state? That would mean New Hampshire with 1.2 rating. SafeWise says Missouri murder rate has risen 61% during the last 5 years. A St. Louis County police car hit a 12-year-old girl earlier this week. An investigation shows the SUV was driving over the speed limit. Monday evening, Akilah Jackson was hit while crossing the 8900 block of Halls Ferry. According to police, the officer was pursuing a suspicious vehicle. The road has a speed limit of 30 and reports show the officer's maximum speed of 59. Officials say Jackson ran into the street before the officer could stop. No lights or sirens were activated. Doctors have told the family that she will likely die from her injuries. The county officer involved has not been identified, but is reportedly cooperating with investigators.
A 28-year-old woman shot and killed her two daughters and the girl's father inside their home Monday night in Northeast Philly. Police say the incident might have started over an argument involving child support payments. Damira Jones is being charged with 3 murders, 2 counts of child endangerment, and 1 count of possessing an instrument of crime.
2 teens tried to rob a 68-year-old man Tuesday night. Police say the teens demanded keys from the man as he loaded items into his car. This incident took place at BB's Jazz Bar on South Broadway just before midnight. One of the teens pulled a gun while the other teen took the man's keys. Police say both teens tried to leave with the car but were not successful. They ran off with the key fob. The man was not hurt.
2 brothers are charged in the shooting of a man in front of his 4 kids in road rage incident in St. Louis County. The shooting happened around 3 p.m. on Monday in Green Park. Nicholas Marino was driving and Joseph Marino was in the passenger seat at the time of the incident. When the brothers saw the other driver pulling over and taking down their license plate number, Joseph pointed a gun at the man while Nicholas got out of the car and fired at least 3 shots at him.
Straight ahead, TV news. Where's the beef? Well, that's Wendy's, but for Taco Bell, it's more like what's in the beef.
The fast food chain has made a recall for something you definitely don't want to be eaten. What's in it? And it's still being sold? That story and more coming up on LUTV News.
Chop the pineapple.
Chop the pineapple.
Nope. I'm high. How about I wash off the grapes?
Yes.
Okay.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
I want tacos. Will you drive? I'm a little toasty.
Nope. I'm high. Let's order in.
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Before you head for the border, heads up. Taco Bell is recalling 2.3 million pounds of seasoned beef in 21 states. Last Friday, a customer reported finding a metal shaving in her food. All affected locations removed the item from the menu by Monday. Officials say the affected items were produced between September 20th and October 4th. The USDA noted that its Food Safety and Inspection Service is concerned that some products may still be in restaurant refrigerators.
Enterprise Center and State Food Theater have announced that they are partnering with a company to provide audio description to those who are visually impaired. People will be able to get a headset and listen to an audio describer explain the costumes, sets, and the action on stage for select shows. Anyone needing audio description with visual impairment or not can borrow a headset for free with their event ticket. The new service would include upcoming shows such as Baby Shark Live, the Harley Glottenberg, and select blues events.
A woman wants a St. Louis County police officer fired after a traffic stop. A 63-year-old woman is accusing an officer of inappropriately touching her during a traffic stop. Millicent Williams says she was targeted and abused on April 2nd. Williams was near her St. Louis County home on Lackland around 2 a.m. when she was pulled over. Williams says the officer cursed at her when he told her to get out of the car. She says the officer then touched on her arms, breasts, and legs. Williams filed a report with St. Louis County. The officer was disciplined but not fired. Williams is the ex-wife of a St. Louis City police officer.
Police are looking for 2 people who robbed an Instacart delivery driver Monday night. The incident happened when the driver was heading to a home around 9:30 in the Shaw neighborhood. The driver says two men pointed a gun at her and took her keys and grocery bags. The woman who ordered the groceries saw what was going on and called 911. Police arrived quickly, but the robbers had already took off.
The Rockwood School District is offering a $1,000 hiring bonus for experienced drivers. New drivers start out at $16.61 per hour, while 5-year experienced drivers receive $25.39 per hour. Rockwood has a $500 bus driver referral bonus program in place for employees. St. Charles County is also dealing with a bus driver shortage. The district says they're having a hard time finding potential bus drivers.
But yes, we do struggle. We do put out hiring campaigns just like everybody else and kind of keep track of how other people are doing and see if we can be more competitive to retain people.
Districts across the nation are dealing with a bus driver shortage.
A Missouri mother posted shocking before and after picture of her drug addict son in an attempt to reach out to him. Jennifer Saffin, in her suffering, decided to send a message to her Facebook friends about her son's battle with heroin and methamphetamine. She says she hasn't heard from him in weeks and is praying that he comes back. Cody Bishop graduated from the University of Missouri but then moved to Las Vegas. These pictures were taken 7 months apart.
The Delmar Loop trolley is in danger of shutting down within weeks. The trolley asked St. Louis County taxpayers for $700,000 to stay open. Members of the St. Louis County Council have signed a no for this request and are willing to let it drop. Councilman Mark Harder called it a ridiculous request. Trolley backer Joe Edwards says this is a short-term fix and they can make this project work if the request is met.
Fire officials are investigating suspicious house fires in Riverview. Early Wednesday morning, firefighters were called to the 400 block of Fort Drive for a fire. The owner of the house was staying right across the street while his house was being renovated. Then on Tuesday, the firefighters were called again for a fire right next door to the house on Fort Drive. However, fire officials don't think this last fire is connected to several others on Enright Avenue.
3 men have been charged in connection with an armed robbery at the Wood River, Illinois Verizon store Sunday. Officials say Wood River police responded to a call a little after 1:30 at the 600 block of Wesley Drive. 2 masked men entered the store while another waited in the car. Bail is set for Isaiah Morgan, Tyrone Robinson, and Jordan Aaron at $500,000.
A look at one of the coolest days of the fall. But there is a nice warm-up coming this way right in time for the weekend. And the 5-day forecast right after this.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision. Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Invent.
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
Because you said rude things about my work, I started to question my own voice.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of your negative comments online, I've almost quit doing the one thing that makes me happiest in life.
Because you shared something about me that was private, I felt embarrassed.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Because of you sharing your story with me, I feel comfortable sharing my own.
Because you were there when I was coming out, you helped me regain my confidence.
I'm still here today because of you.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
It is definitely feeling like fall outside, but I think we can all agree that we would like it to be just a little bit warmer. But that is not the case in Colorado and western Kansas as we take a look at the national map. There is a high pressure system out near Denver making it pretty hot for October in that area. While out east you can see the rain is coming in and should be hitting New York and the northern East Coast in the coming days. Now, as we take a look at our local map, you can see it's cooling down a bit. In St. Louis, it's 57, with more of the same in St. Charles and Maryland Heights. But it is not supposed to stay this cool for long, thankfully, because it is getting much cooler, especially in the mornings. Now, switching over to St. Peter's and O'Fallon, it is 57 as well, but it has been overall a pretty sunny day with the occasional cloud, which has been nice, just a little cooler than it has been. Now, as we look at the 5-day forecast, a high of 59 on Wednesday and a low of 39, But as we prepare for the weekend, it is looking to warm back up on Thursday with a high of 64 and a low of 45, with the sun shining. But then a beautiful day on Friday to get everyone ready for the weekend with a high of 71 and a low of 52. Then Saturday, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be a little rainy in the area, but the high is going to be 64 and the low will be 48. But finishing the week strong with a high of 71 and a low of 60 with partly cloudy skies on Sunday. That is your weather for the week. Have a great weekend, and now over to Merlina with sports.
Thank you, Ethan. Devastating Game 4 for the St. Louis Cardinals. I got the story for you when we come back.
How's your hair? Is it pretty?
Daddy.
It's pretty.
Maybe I'll sit on it.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do it like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door. Sorry about that. You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys. Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome to LUTV Sports. Sad news for the Cards fans as they lost their ticket to the World Series last night. The first inning was packed with action as the Washington Nationals scored 7 runs, which put a lot of pressure on the Cardinals for the rest of the game. After that, the Nationals never really stopped dominating. The Nationals beat the Cards 7-4 for a 4-game sweep of the National League Championship, and they will be traveling to their first ever World Series. On the bright side, though, the Blues visited the White House to celebrate their Stanley Cup win with the president. The Blues stood behind the presidential lectern at the Rose Garden for a formal event, and President Donald Trump called the win an amazing history of comebacks. He then invited Alexander Steen, who is missing a tooth, to the lectern and said, "You think I could take him in a fight?" Lila Anderson joined the Blues as well for the ceremony. And football is back in St. Louis. The Battlehawks snatched some fresh talent for the Extreme Football League, signing their first quarterback and Ole Miss Rebel Jordan Ta'amu. The Battlehawks also signed Christine Michael, a Texas A&M Aggie that brings a ton of experience from the NFL as he played with Seattle, Dallas, and Indianapolis. This is definitely an exciting beginning to what can be another great team in St. Louis. In Lions territory, the men's volleyball team is preparing for their fall events before their season opener in January. The Lions will host their first fall event at Highland Arena on October 27th, featuring a mini conference preview with Quincy, McKendree, and Ball State. Their second fall preview will be on November 3rd with D3 and NIAA schools. And people in China are burning LeBron James jerseys. The problem started after the Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey tweeted his support for the pro-democracy protesters in China. LeBron then tweeted that the timing was not right for Morey to say such things as the NBA was getting ready for an exhibition game in China. This is what he said.
I don't want to get into a word or sentence feud with Daryl. Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke.
LeBron has been vocally supportive of social justice causes for a long time, and even defended athletes for speaking publicly about politics. We'll see how this story develops. That's all I have for sports. Back to you, Rolando and Danielle.
NASA has revealed prototypes of its next generation spacesuits.
There are to be more inside the orange spacecraft and on the surface of the moon when the American astronaut returns as soon as 2024.
Their first goal is to keep the crew safe, including America's first woman moonwalker. Then they are focused on mobility.
The suited models demonstrated bending, squatting, and walking in the spacesuits.
Thanks for joining us. That's it for this edition of LUTV News. I'm Rolando Dupuy.
And I'm Danielle Lee. Have a great day.